In this lecture, let us discuss the practical realization of the devices. Okay, so which we have taken for granted in all these discussions, like a couple of lectures in the previous lectures, like we discussed mixers and then multipliers and so on. Okay, so just like that, we assume that the devices are ready and we used it. Okay, now let us see how these mixers and multipliers are realized in practice. Okay, essentially we will discuss multipliers, and we have had an occasion to discuss these briefly in one of the previous lectures, but let's spend some time on only a small discussion we like to have here. Okay, how do you realize these things? Now I wanted to give a brief idea about these things, okay, in this lecture. Okay, so one is we can realize this kind of devices using non-linear elements. In the previous lecture, as I said, we can use what kind of device we can use, like can we use a resistor, or can we use inductors or capacitors or transistors or diodes or something else. So now generally these mixers and multipliers are realized using non-linear device, non-linear element. Okay, for example, we want to multiply two signals. Let's say I have x of t and y of t, and these two signals I want to multiply. Okay, so let us say x of t is your message signal m of t, and your y of t is your carrier signal cos omega ct. In order to get, let's say, DSB SC signal. Okay, so the carrier and the message signal both are multiplied to get the DSB-SC. Or in the receiver, you can do the incoming signal x of t, and this is modulated by the locally generated oscillator signal. There also you put a multiplier. So these are the kind of things that we want to do. Now how do we multiply? We know how to add signals, right? We know how to subtract signals. That is not a big thing. But multiplication is possible by using only non-linear elements in the circuit. So using linear elements, it is impossible to do that. So multiplication is done with the help of non-linear elements. And if you use linear elements, it is impossible. So you cannot do the multiplication of two signals. For example, we can have the non-linear current voltage characteristics of some device. Let's say this is voltage and this is current, which we should exploit okay, here for our purpose. For example, you can have a device whose current and voltage characteristics are related by I is equal to I0, output current I0 is equal to some constant A1 times input voltage V1 plus A2 times V1 square and so on, where Vi is the input voltage. Let me say this is denoted by Vi. Instead of V1, let me put Vi, input voltage, Vi square plus A3 times Vi cube, like that. In this case, if I choose my input voltage is Vi to be the sum of two signals which I want to multiply, then because of the non-linearity, I will get some product terms. Okay, let me call this, let me truncate at this point. Therefore, your I0 is equal to A1 times Vi plus A2 times Vi squared. Let us stop up to this point. Now where Vi is made as your message signal, let's say m of t, plus your carrier signal, let's say AC times cosine omega ct, like this. Now if you substitute mi in the above expression, the square term will produce multiplication of the two values. For example, your I naught, if you substitute here, I naught is equal to a1. A1 is a constant, by the way. M of t plus AC times cosine omega ct, right, plus a2 times M of t plus AC cos omega ct, the whole squared. Is that okay? Now this is a1 M of t plus a1 capital AC times cos omega ct plus a2. Here the beauty is it's a square term, non-linear term. So a squared m squared of t plus b squared AC squared cos squared of omega ct plus 2ab, 2 times m of t AC times cos of omega ct. Now what you do, you put a proper filter and pass this guy alone, so that you will get the product of two signals. Okay, so along with this product term, there will be a lot of other terms as well. So what we will do is we will put a proper filter to separate out these guys, remove this guy, remove this guy, remove this guy, and remove this guy, and pass this signal alone, this part alone. Okay, so we have to ensure that it is possible to separate out the desired product term, from the rest of the term. So the non-linearity will produce the desired product terms. Okay, so the square term, this produces the desired product terms. Typically they can be separated out from the others by appropriate filtering. By keeping appropriate filtering, you can remove that. Okay, so it is possible to do that. Okay, so this is one mechanism of realizing these multipliers or these modulators or mixers. So you take a nonlinear device like diodes, PN junctions of diodes and transistors. So these are the typical devices which will exhibit these characteristics. So most of the mixers and modulators can be realized using diodes and transistors. Okay, so now this is one way, and the second one is something called the switching modulators. It consists of an ideal diode followed by a resistance at the, okay, so you take a diode. Let me draw the diagram. Let me consider this is an ideal diode and in parallel with a resistance like this. Okay, switching modulator. Now what you do, you take your carrier signal and your message signal, both you add here. Let us say this is my M of t and this is, let me denote the carrier signal by C of t. Okay, at the input to this circuit, let me put a block diagram, block box like this. Okay, so at the input to the circuit, we apply the sum of carrier signal with the message signal, both are added with, okay, and which we want to multiply in fact. So whatever the signals that you want to multiply, you add them here, plus minus plus minus. Of course in AC there is no plus minus, just for sake of clarity I put that. Okay, one of them is, let us say, carrier signal and the other one is, let us say, message M of t. Since the diode is considered to be ideal, if you look at the behavior of the output voltage here in this point as a function of the diode conducting or non-conducting, basically the diode will go through two phases of operation. In the forward biased mode, it will act as a perfect short circuit between the input and output. The output voltage V0 would be simply equal to the input voltage at that time. Therefore, your V naught of t is equal to simply C of t plus m of t. Let us say this is my V naught of t when the diode is on. Okay. So, when the diode is perfectly conducting, therefore, the output is simply equal to the input voltage. What is the input voltage? Sum of these two guys that we are applying. Okay. When the diode is reverse biased, the output voltage is 0. Diode is reverse biased. If it is reverse bias means what? Off. If it is off, this is the condition. Okay. Therefore, V naught of t, if you want to write, then C of t plus m of t and 0. Okay. And let us say this circuit is connected to the ground like this. Now, basically we have to see when does the diode conduct and when it does not conduct, at what condition it conducts and at what condition it will not conduct. To get the required multiplication factor that we want, we will impose a constraint that the carrier is all the time or most of the time larger than the message signal. Generally, your carrier signal C of t will be much higher than m of t, and moreover your carrier is a sinusoidal signal like this, like cos omega ct. As long as the voltage exceeds, as long as the voltage is positive, the diode starts to conduct. And this carrier amplitude AC is much greater than m of t for all the time than the message signal. So, that is a condition that we are assuming here. If that assumption, this assumption is true, then it is clear that whether the diode is reverse biased or forward biased will be essentially depend on the carrier voltage, right? Because the message voltage is very less, so do not worry about that. So, we will consider m of t, C of t. Therefore, if C of t is greater than 0, then the diode is on. If C of t is less than 0, then diode is off. So, that is what we are assuming here. So, whenever carrier is going through a positive half cycle, diode will be forward biased. Greater than 0 means what? Positive. Okay, carrier voltage is positive. And when it is less than 0 means the carrier voltage is negative. That is it. So, when the carrier waveform is going through the negative half cycle, it is less than 0. C of t is less than 0. The diode will be reverse biased and the output voltage is 0. Therefore, your output voltage V naught of t is equal to C of t plus m of t if C of t is greater than 0, greater than or equal to 0, and this is equal to 0 if C of t is less than 0. This is a condition. So, this is kind of essentially switching action, because you are getting an output voltage which is the product of input voltage and a 1 and 0 sequence. Suppose you draw a sequence like this. Now, in this position, when it is on, you are multiplying by 1, and in the negative half cycle you are multiplying by 0. In the positive half cycle again you are multiplying by 1, 0, 1. Therefore, when you multiply by 1, the output is C of t times m of t. When you multiply by 0, the output is 0. So, essentially your V naught of t is multiplied is nothing but C of t plus m of t, and this is multiplied by a sequence of 1s and 0s like this. Keep on goes. Okay. So, you are essentially multiplying the 1 and 0 values, C of t plus m of t, right. So, this is the kind of multiplication taking place now. So in this half cycle, in this half cycle, you are multiplying the input voltage with 1, and in this negative half cycle, you are multiplying by 0, and in this positive half cycle you are multiplying by 1. Therefore, you are multiplying a kind of square pulses with 1 and 0. So you can think in that way. So this I can write as C of t plus m of t is multiplied by a waveform. This essentially I can write like this, like that. See, this is 1 and this is 0, 1 and 0, like that. I can have the waveform like that. Therefore, let me call this waveform gt. Let me put a g suffix t of t. This t naught indicates period of this waveform t naught. Okay. So this sequence let me write by gt of t like that. Okay, of course you can say this is not product, okay, this is the summation. What you want is, you want the product of C of t times m of t. That we will see how it is going to be achieved. Okay, so the C of t plus m of t is being multiplied by a switching function. That switching function is denoted by g suffix t naught of capital T, and where t naught is the period of the periodic waveform. You see, this is a periodic waveform. Why is it periodic? Your sinusoidal is periodic. So this pulse is generated from the sinusoidal function. Therefore, GT naught of t is periodic square wave. So for half the carrier cycle, you are multiplying with the 1. So this GT naught of t is equal to 1 during the positive half cycle if C of t is greater than 0, and this GT naught of t is equal to 0 if C of t is less than 0. This is your GT of t. Okay, so it is 1 and again it is 0, again 1, again 0, it keep on alternates. So basically this is the kind of function which in which you are multiplying the input voltage C of t plus m of t. So this one is multiplying this guy. Now as I said, this GT of t is a periodic function, and what is the period? Period is a t naught. If the period is t naught, then what is the frequency? Let us say frequency is equal to 1 over t naught. Let me denote this frequency by f suffix c. It is my notation. In fact, you can put a f naught also, it does not matter. Let me choose fc. Now we want a product between what we want finally is we want C of t times m of t. This is what we want. We don't want summation. Okay. After all, this whole discussion is about how to get C of t times m of t, right? We don't want C of t plus m of t. What we want is a product between C of t and m of t. Fortunately, that is possible when we realize this periodic function, periodic square wave, in terms of, or if we expand in terms of Fourier series. If you have a periodic square wave, and that is going to be written in terms of sinusoidal signals. So without going through the details, like instead of deriving the Fourier series, let me write down the final answer. Okay, so recall this Fourier series from your signals and systems course. So if you have a periodic square wave, that can be represented in terms of exponential Fourier series. Okay, so it contains only odd harmonics because it is an odd function. So it will also has a DC component because it is a non-zero mean square value. So let me write down the GT of t in terms of its Fourier series 1 by 2, it is a DC value, plus 2 by pi summation over n is equal to 1 to infinity minus 1 whole to the n minus 1 divided by 2n minus 1 cos of 2 pi f c t times 2n minus 1 like this. Maybe let me write down properly this. Cos of 2 pi f c t times 2n minus 1. This is the expression, Fourier series of your periodic square wave. And it has only odd harmonics. And the fundamental corresponding to n equals 1. And third harmonic corresponding to n equals 2, and so on so forth. Now you put a proper band pass filter such that you will get a product of m of t times c of t will get. Now what is your v naught of t? V naught of t is equal to c of t plus m of t multiplied by gt naught of t. Now multiply this guy. Before multiplying this, you expand this one. Let me write before. Okay, so this one gt naught of t is equal to 1 by 2 plus 2 by pi. Expand the summation. Substitute n equals 0. Sorry, n equals 1. Then 2 minus 1 1 and minus 1. Power minus 1. Yeah, again it is minus 1. Cos of 2 pi, if you substitute n equals 1, then it is 1 only, cos of 2 pi f c t. This is my first component. I am sorry, if you substitute n equals 1 in the power, then this becomes 0, right? So you will get 0, minus 1 power 0. In the denominator you will get 1. If you substitute n equals 2, then minus 1 whole power 1 divided by 2 times 2, 4, 4 minus 1, 3, cos of here 2 pi f c t, then 2 times 2, 4, 4 minus 1, 3, so 6 pi f c t. Okay, let me denote this 2 pi f c t as omega c t. Therefore, this expression I can write as 3 omega c t, and this expression I can write as omega c t, so that I can show the frequency explicitly. Okay, that's why I am writing this. Like this, it keep on goes. Let me stop at this point. I don't want beyond that. So this is my gt of t. Now multiply this with your c of t plus m of t. So v naught of t is equal to c of t plus m of t multiplied by 1 by 2 plus 2 by pi cos of omega c t. Before that, what is the c of t? C of t is AC cos of omega c t. Okay, this is my gt naught of t. Then minus 2 pi by 3, is that right? Yes, 2 pi by 3 cos 3 omega c t plus and so on and so forth. Now multiply term by term. So AC by 2 cos omega c t plus 2 AC by pi cos square omega c t minus 2 AC pi by 3 cos omega c t cos 3 omega c t plus so on so forth. So that means you are multiplying this guy, multiplying this guy, multiplying this guy, and so on so forth. Now let us multiply m of t with this one plus 1 by 2 m of t, then m of t with this guy 2 by pi m of t cos of omega c t, then again multiply m of t with this one minus 2 times m of t times pi divided by 3 cos of 3 omega ct plus dot dot dot. And this V naught of t is applied to a band pass filter. What is this? This is my V naught of t. Why did I put this one? I am sorry, this is wrong. This is V naught of t. Okay, so now what we are saying is you have C of t, then you have M of t, and this one is given to a diode and then a resistor, and this one is given to a proper band pass filter centered at Fc. Now let me say this is my V of t, this is V naught of t, either we can call this is V of t. Now what happens, this band pass filter allows only cos omega ct terms and rest of the terms it rejects. The output of the band pass filter is V of t. So now V of t will contain only those terms which are allowed by the band pass filter. Let's say the band pass filter is, as I said, tuned to pass frequencies in the neighborhood of the carrier frequency Fc. Therefore, your output of the band pass filter V naught of t, V of t is equal to AC by 2 cos omega ct plus 2 by pi m of t cos omega ct. Remaining all other components are rejected. See, this cos square term is rejected, then cos omega ct and cos 3 omega ct is rejected, this m of t is rejected, and then again this higher frequency component, this also rejected. Only this guy and this guy is allowed through the band pass filter. Therefore, the output of the band pass filter contains the carrier component. What is this cos omega ct? Carrier, and the modulated component DSB SC modulated component that you are looking for. Okay, now if you rearrange this, you can take AC. Here also there is a AC, I forgot to write, okay, I am sorry. Here also AC. If you multiply term by term, sorry, no AC, I am sorry. There will not be any AC term. So you take AC by 2 commonly outside, because I want to write 1 plus something, that's why I am making this kind of arrangement. Then this is 4 by pi times AC m of t multiplied by cos omega ct. I can rewrite like this. Now what is the modulation index? This is the modulation index, 4 by pi AC. So this generates an AM signal with carrier, amplitude modulated signal with the carrier. Okay, in case suppose we want to we wanted a pure DSB-SC signal, I don't want this carrier, what can I do? I want the output without the carrier component. I just simply the multiplication of m of t times cos omega ct. So how can I change the circuit? Okay, we can still apply the switching idea. The only difference is we need to somehow multiply the signal like this, you generate the square wave like this. In the previous case the square wave was like this, right? I am sorry, the square wave was like this. So it has average DC component. Average DC component. Where is average DC component? It is here. This 1 by 2 comes because of this area, because of this positive area. In case if you have the waveform like this, where positive area cancels the negative area, then what will happen? This is positive and this one is negative. So what is the average for this waveform? Average is equal to 0, and in this average DC value is equal to 1 by 2. Because of this 1 by 2, this carrier component is coming. This component is coming. Okay, because this component is multiplied with this 1 by 2. If that 1 by 2 is not there, then we can get only DSB-SC signal. because of this 1 by 2, this cos omega c it is multiplied and that is coming here, and this cos omega it is applying here, therefore you are getting the carrier. So because of that the 1 is appearing here. If I don't want the carrier, then what shall I do? I will create a square waveform like this, so that the positive area will be cancelled by the negative area, therefore the average value will be 0. So in this case your Fourier series will be, instead of 1 by 2, it will be 0 plus 2 by pi summation of n is equal to n is equal to 1 to infinity minus 1 whole. You just find out the Fourier series for this. Okay, the DC component of the waveform must be 0 for this fact. Therefore, this 1 by 2 factor will disappear, 0. N equals 1 to infinity minus 1 whole power n minus 1 divided by 2n minus 1 cos of so and so. And that is precisely done by a device called ring modulator. So the next one is ring modulator, or it is also called a balanced modulator. Okay, so let us talk about the ring modulator. Or balanced modulator. Okay, let me draw the circuit diagram. Here you apply m of t, your message signal. You take a center tapped transformer, center point, and then you put a diode like this, and then here also you put a diode like this, and this is connected to again another center tapped transformer. And this is your modulated signal, I mean DSB-AC modulated signal. The operation is very simple. Now you put one more diodes like this, then here also you put one more diode like this and like this, and this is center tapped again. And between these 2 points you apply C of t, carrier. That's it. Now let me name these diodes D1, then this is D2, and then this is D3 and D4, and let's say this point is A, then B, C, D. Okay, so this is the balanced modulator. It is also called a ring modulator. The reason is that these diodes face in the same direction. Okay, as we trace the diodes, they all point in the same direction. For example, you start from A, then you have the diode like this, D1, you reach the point B, then B to C, again it faces the same direction, D2, C. Then C to D, again you have the same diode, all are in the same direction, D3. Then C, this is D, then D to A, then also the diode will be in the same direction. So that is why this is called a what you call ring modulator. Okay, it looks like a ring, all are facing in the same direction. So if you go along these diodes, they form a ring in the same sense. So we call it a ring modulator. Okay, we applied the carrier signal here. Let me write this, I need space. C of t. We applied the carrier here, C of t, carrier voltage between the center tap of the two transformers. So I have transformer T1 and T2, both are center tapped. So C of t's carrier voltage is applied between the two center tapped points. your message is given in this center tap transformer primary, and this one is your modulated signal output voltage. Okay, so let me call this modulated voltage as S of t or something else. Okay, now let us look at the operation of this diode. It is very simple operation. It's very easy to understand also. The principle is more or less the same as what we did in the previous case. Okay, like switching modulators. So when C of t is positive, okay, the first condition is when C of t is greater than 0. That means what? Positive. If C of t is positive, two of these diodes conduct and two of them are reverse biased. For example, during the positive half cycle, let's say this point, let me denote x, and this point let me denote y. So x is positive and y is negative. Let's say C of t is greater than 0, right? So which diodes will conduct now? If x is positive, the positive voltage comes here and the positive voltage appears here at the point A1, okay, and the same positive appears here also. Let me change the color. Positive appears here. Therefore, what happens? D1 and D3 conducts. Okay, so if C of t is greater than 0, D1 and D3 conducts. What about D2 and D4? Because this is positive, if that is positive, diode D4 will be reverse biased, and here also it is positive, therefore D2 will be reverse biased. If this is positive and this point also positive, so the positive voltage potential is applied to the anode of your D4, and the same negative appears here also in the B terminal, and the same negative appears to the anode of this diode. When C of t is greater than positive, then what happens? Your D1 and D3 on. When D1 and D3 on, that means what? Your C of t will come here, appears across this point. So that will come to the out. Sorry, 1 second. If D1 and D3 on, that means what? It will act as a short circuit. If it is short circuit, this M of t will appear here across these two terminals, and that M of t will appear here also. Okay, now let us consider the other case. If C of t is less than 0, that means, let me denote, delete this all guys. This one, then this one, this one, this one. Now if C of t is less than 0, that means negative. Let us assume this is positive and this is negative. The reverse operation, D1 and D3 will be off. What about D4 and D2? Will be on. Okay, so therefore the circuit will be closed in this path like this. So this point is plus M of t and this point is minus M of t. So the minus M of t appears here and this plus M of t appears here. Therefore output will be again reversed. Okay, remember that we are assuming that for this discussion that the center tapped transformer is short circuited between this point and this point and this point. So more or less we are assuming that this point is directly connected to this point. Also we assumed that the impedance offered by these diodes D1, D2, D3 all are very, very small when it is forward biased. When these diodes are conducting, basically what you are going to get is the following. Okay, here C of t is actually balanced out. It is cancelled out. That's what we mean by balanced oscillator, balanced circuit. There is no net carrier applied from let's say this A point and C point. If you take the net output from A to C, it is 0, balanced out. Okay, so why I am saying balanced out? Because this is A. If this is minus, if X is minus, negative voltage is coming here, negative, the same negative appears here, and in this point also negative appears. So what is the potential difference between these two guys? 0. So that means it is balanced out. There is no net carrier applied across A and C. The carrier voltage appearing between the A terminal and the C terminal is 0. If the transformer is perfectly balanced, that is, if the center tap exists precisely in the middle of the winding, okay, if it is middle of the winding exactly, then you can achieve this perfect balanced condition. And similarly, net 0 voltage due to carrier appears here also, because between B and D. So basically the voltage M of t will appear across the output, let's say O and O dash. Okay, so that is the thing, that is the working principle of your balanced modulator. Now when the carrier is in the other direction, as I said, C of t is less than 0, negative. In this case what happens? This X is negative and Y is positive. Okay, remember X is here. So many symbols. Let's say this is C of t and this point is Y and this point is X. This is negative and this is positive for C of t less than 0. In this case D4 and D2 on, D1 and D3 off, switched off, if you look at the figure. So what is happening now? Instead of reaching M of t, this point via this path in the upper point, it reaches the D point. Okay, instead of reaching the B point, see this A point voltage, instead of reaching the B point, it reaches the D point via the diode D4. Similarly, C, instead of reaching C to the D, it reaches C to B via the diode D2. Okay, so now what happens during the positive half cycle? A is positive and C is negative. If M of t is given, let us say this is positive and this is negative, then here it appears negative and positive. 180-degree phase shift. Recall from your transformer operating principle. So effectively M of t is multiplied by -1. Just for the sake of let us say M of t is equal to cos omega mt, like this. If you apply positive and negative, then in the transformer side, let me use some other color. It is so much messy. Maybe I'll write down the one more time, like this center tap. Now if this is positive and this is negative, let's say cos omega mt, then this will be negative and this will be positive. And this negative is connected like this because of the diode, and this positive is connected like this. So the positive appears here and negative appears here because in between it is open circuited. These two diodes are open circuited, and here there is a diode, the diode is short circuited, right. So therefore this is my M of t, M of t is positive and here it is minus M of t because of this 180-degree phase shift. So across this point, this becomes minus M of t. That means what? M of t is multiplied by -1. Okay, so m of t is effectively multiplied by minus 1. So this is as if changing the sign of m of t. So effectively the connection between the input and output is crossed, and therefore that is equivalent to multiplying of m of t with a minus 1. So if you plot this, let us say this is my m of t sin omega c t, and it is switching between plus 1, again multiplying minus 1, plus 1, minus 1, and so on so forth, right. So if you multiply that, so multiplication like this, it goes like that, multiplication takes place. Okay. Maybe 1 second, this is not correct, let me draw accurately. Like that, then you extend this line, like this you extend. Let me choose a different color. It goes, because it is 1, comes down, then traces like this, then it goes up, positive, comes down. Oh my god. Where is it? Yeah. Okay, it comes down like this, goes up, then trace like that, again comes down, trace like that, then goes up, come back, like this. So let me shade this in terms of this color. It goes like this, come back, then like this, like that, like that. Let me say this is figure A, figure B, and this one is figure C. Okay, if you plot this, it looks like figure C at the output. Assume this is your modulated signal m of t, modulating waveform, okay, message signal, and to show the switching action, basically we are multiplying this m of t with a square waveform, and the square waveform goes between plus 1 and minus 1, and the output waveform would look like this. Of course, the switching will be at a much higher rate, okay, than what I have shown here, okay, because the carrier frequency which is a high frequency. So you get a modulated waveform which looks like this. Once again, no, the carrier wave does not appear to be a sine wave, okay, it appears to be a square wave. So what should I do? So the basic theory remains the same. Here m of t is multiplied by a square wave, and the square wave is a periodic wave, okay, therefore the square wave contains the fundamental component and its odd harmonics. So we only want the component which is the product of m of t with the first harmonics of the square wave. Therefore the modulated signal s of t, you pass it through the band pass filter centered at fc. So the output is m of t times cos of omega c t. Simply pass through a band pass filter tuned to the carrier frequency fc. So S of t is passed through the band pass filter. So this procedure produces perfectly balanced output, okay, balanced modulator output, which is m of t times cosine of omega ct. Okay, it is perfectly balanced and okay, with a scaling factor of suitable value, and that is the balanced modulator for us. So there is a simple note for this circuit diagram. For this to be balanced, as I said, the transformers T1 and T2, let me say this is T1 and T2, need to be perfectly balanced so that the carrier component does not appear in the output. If it does not balance, then a residual carrier component will appear in the output between O and O dash. If it is not balanced, then there will be some voltage across A and C and some voltage across B and D due to the carrier. And also these diodes should be identical. D1 should be identical with D3, D2 will be identical with D4. If it is ideal, then there is no problem, but if they are not ideal, they should have more or less the same value of the forward resistance. If it has some different amount of resistance, then we will be in trouble. So these two conditions are required to make them balanced. So when we say the circuit is balanced, the two transformers are perfectly balanced, and second one is all diodes are identical. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a flavor of the kind of things that we can generate both AM signals as well as DSB-SC signals. Therefore, AM signal is generated with the help of switching modulators, and this one is DSB-SC is with the help of what? This is a balanced modulator, that's it. So having generated any one of them, one can then generate either the SSB signal or VSB signal by appropriate sideband filtering. The moment you have DSB-SC signal, you can remove any one sideband and you can get a SSB signal, that's it. Okay, so that's all about the practical realization of your mixers and other modulated waveform generation. Okay, so anything left? I think let me stop at this point. In the next lecture, we will discuss interference. So that is the last topic for amplitude modulation. With that, maybe 1 or 2 lectures, with that we will complete amplitude modulation, and then we will start frequency modulation. So let me stop at this point. Thank you very much.